talking about coming back. You coming with joyous energy.
Yeah.
Came home last night with like anxious and like annoying energy.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were like...
You did.
Yeah.
I was like, are you good, bruv?
Yeah, you come back from holiday. Is everything all right? You were like, you didn't get the fucking simmers.
What are you, man? What is even the point of you guys?
Yeah, it's like,
You
oh,
didn't say that. You didn't say
But you
that.
applied it heavily.
No, it wasn't. I didn't imply.
Are you eating something?
I'm having a smint.
You're having a smint.
It'll be
You
good.
decided to
That's
pop
fine,
a
that's
smint
fine.
in.
At least it wasn't the Greco gum.
Yeah, it'll be good in a few minutes. Brett's thinking better put a smint in.
Nice.
Nice.
Smint, if you guys want to sponsor the podcast.
Oh, that would actually be a great sponsor.
Would it? Have you ever bought a pack of Smiths?
I buy Smint all the time.
I've never seen
Every
you buy
day.
Smiths.
I buy Smints all the time.
But we
It's-
wouldn't.
I love Smiths.
I love Smint.
We wouldn't have to if we were sponsored.
That's what I'm saying. But I've given them money anyway.
We'd have
Why
Smints
do
out the
they do
wazoo.
that? If somebody's like a big spender on your company, why would you sponsor them and give them all the stuff for free?
Because they know that you're going to be using it every day, so you're likely going to be advertising it yourself. So say, for example, if you're fucking Timothy Chalamet and you get sponsored by Smint, suddenly he's on the floor at the basketball game and he's eating a Smint
Yeah.
because it's free and he's just got them at home.
He's just got loads of Smints.
Advertising.
Yeah. Smints.
And also part of the sponsorship deal would be like you have to.
Eat Smint.
You have
publicly.
to use
eat
it.
Smints on the floor. You have to try. You have put one Smint in your mouth and then you put it in Kylie Jenner's mouth.
Yeah.
Pass the Smint.
But they make a game past the Smint. That's a good idea.
You used to play that at school with your boys, isn't it?
Yeah, probably in the bathroom.
What the hell, guys?
Look, it's fine if that's what you like to do.
What the hell? What kind of allegations are you trying to hit me with?
I'm glad we didn't, because obviously I was away this week, and I'm so glad that it wasn't that kind of like stag where it was, questionable behaviour from the man there.
But none of these are like rugby lads.
I know, but
So that's why. That's the
you never
correlation between suspect behaviour on a night out and rugby. It's the direct correlation.
yeah.
If they played rugby at school or at like
Becomes a bit
university,
sus.
it just becomes a bit like, oh, let's play a game. It's called like, suck your boy off. And it's like,
I don't think they play that.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Basically,
It's more like weird beer chugging stuff.
but it's like finish your pint and the last person to finish their pint has to suck us all off. Honestly,
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a game like that or in that vein.
I think maybe at like boarding schools and stuff like that, it would
Yeah.
be way more common.
Yeah,
Right.
probably. I imagine so. Cause
Imagine being at an all boys boarding school for like multiple years,
I know somebody who was like that.
but you're living there as
One
well.
of Eddie's mates, like a lot of Eddie's close boys from uni, they all came from the same like all boys boarding school.
Really?
They were all like pretty sound. Their humor was very similar to like mine. I was like, okay, this is when
Well,
you go
what
to.
does that say about you then, Brev?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, what did it
They
say-
sound terrible.
What does it say about us?
Don't lumber us in with you, Brev.
Lumber.
And you're
Don't
weird.
lumber us in. Is
Yeah.
that a saying?
Yeah.
Why have you guys got to call me out today? Every time you could have just said no, it's not a saying. We could have ganged up on him.
But I think it is a saying.
I don't think it is.
Don't gang up
lumber.
on me.
Yeah, I think it is lumber.
I thought it was like lump us in. Don't
Possibly,
lump me
it could be. It could be lump me in.
Oh, yeah, could be.
All right.
Both sound good.
Find out next time on
Yeah.
the next
Also,
episode.
for example,
Comment
like
below.
the rigmarole. Rigmarole?
It's rigmarole.
Roll
Roll.
R-O-L-E.
And that means
Just the
stuff.
hubbub, the
hubbub, the hubbub or the hub
The
hub.
whole
process.
fiddly nature of something.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fiddly nature.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of describing it.
Fiddly Nature is quite like a sick music group name.
Fiddly nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're better
nice.
than fucking Cryptid.
Yeah.
That's a shit
Quite
name.
like cryptid.
No, it's a bad name.
Isn't it, when you know what cryptid is, it's cool.
But nobody knows what it is.
Do you know what it is?
No.
So,
Is it cool?
cryptid is like a mythical, like legendary creature, basically.
What kind of is it? Like the body of a lion?
No,
the head of
like-
the head of a lion,
No,
and the paws and tail of a lion. It's a lion.
those are mythical beasts. I would say a cryptid is more like the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot or what else?
Like dragons, maybe.
Dragons, yeah.
That's a cryptid.
I reckon dragons were a real thing, and
Definitely.
dinosaurs weren't real. That's what I think.
I'm not sure about the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
thing,
you
but-
had me, and then.
But
you
a lot
lost
of
me.
people are saying this at the moment, to be fair, or at least that they were very different to how they have been
They had feathers.
portrayed. Yeah,
Yeah, they definitely had feathers. And then you look at T-Rex. T-Rex is this huge
Sounds like you're talking about a person. You see my boy T-Rex.
Wait, you know about T, bro. Look at man like T, bro. You look at T-Rex. Why is he so huge and has these tiny, tiny arms? That doesn't make sense. That genuinely, that doesn't make any sense. Why is he this wham and the arms are unproportionally tiny?
I saw a picture where it's like these are probably just like his little
beginning
stumps
of
for the
wings. Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
imagine how scary that would be if a
They had
T-Rex could
wings.
fly?
Well, isn't there that one? There's that one bird that looks like a like a dinosaur, and it's huge. It's like 6 foot something.
What, in real life?
Yeah. It's active, and it's like I don't know what it's called, but it's got like it's a big head with like a massive beak, and it's like wham. It's some sort of bird.
Some sort of jacked eagle.
Yeah, but it's
That's the name.
Yeah,
but it's more like
Got
a
the bald eagle, the golden eagle,
The jacked eagle.
it's like a
Jack the Eagle's a proper lad's name. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Jack Deagle.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm Jack Deagle.
Yeah, you call me Jack the Eagle. I can't remember what it's called, but it is like a
vulture.
No, because that's like proper. But this looks less like a bird and more like some sort of upright lizard almost. Imagine
I'll
that.
just take your word for it.
Have I described it well?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of a bird lizard.
Yeah.
Upright lizard as well.
Yeah. Have you seen the Geico ad? It's like that, but no, not even. Close
What,
at
he's a
all.
little gecko.
Yeah, he's a little
He's
guy. not
also
even close.
English.
Is he? Oh yeah, he is. Why have they
Yeah.
done that?
In America, for some reason,
They
they
think
love
we're-
using English. It's like they love that accent so much that it's like a good selling
They
point.
think we're
I
proper
think.
smart. It's
Yeah.
like, you want to buy insurance? Good
They
evening,
use a
sir.
McDonald's guy as well. They started using him.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah,
And then if we want to portray someone as bare dumb, we're just like slap an American accent on it.
Exactly.
is that racist to say?
No.
But if I say if we want to portray someone as bare dumb, we slap like a Indian accent on them, you'd be like, oh, what's
Yeah, because
Right.
there's this weird
Yeah,
concept that you can't be racist to white people, which I think is absolutely dumb. You can be racist to anyone.
So that was racist then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you say
you're racist.
if we make it sound American, it makes it sound dumb. Then that surely is a racist.
But
comment.
sometimes they are dumb. I've
There
more
are dumb
often
people
than
everywhere, bro.
yeah, true, very true. But most of the Americans I met while I was in Lisbon, they were all like sound.
Yeah.
One guy I met and I was like,
America's
You're
a
an
weird
idiot.
one because of the size of the country. A lot of them don't need to travel or even know about the rest of the world. So then
Yeah.
they're perceived to be dumb in any of these interviews or whatever. But realistically, it's like, why would they know much about Europe necessarily? You know, like if I was quizzed, like the average person, if they were quizzed about the states of America, would do poorly, and all Americans would go, "You're so dumb."
yeah,
But it's like, why would they know all the countries in Europe? Like, why would they know all this stuff? you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, but if somebody asked me to name 3 states, I'd be fine. But you ask them to name 3 countries and they can't.
yeah. There are levels to it. Like
But you
name
have
3
those,
cities in the US, I'd be like,
But
okay,
they
I
have,
can do
you know that guy who goes like this and does it and just goes and looks at the camera when he's asking people questions in the UK.
Yeah.
They're more stupid. Like the guy who's like, "Hey, coming over." The one guy's wearing a West Ham shirt. He's talking about foreigners. He's like, "Hey, coming over here, taking our jobs, and they're not even working."
Yes.
It is so
What do you mean, bro? What's your point?
Yeah, I don't understand. Could you repeat that? But the thing is, these questions are being asked. It's not necessarily just like geography based. It's just like, what's a quarter of 60? And they're like 25. They think a quarter is 25%. No, it's 25. Like that's actually the fraction translates to one number, which is static across everything that you're using it against. So it's like, it's like a quarter to 4. They think that means 3:35 because it's 25 minutes to the time, which is just like.
Yeah, but that's also unfortunate just because they have a thing called a quarter.
Yeah, but that's 25 cent
Yeah, I know.
of one, but they don't understand that 1/4 is a fraction.
Because they also,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way, because they call it 1/4 as well.
Uh,
That's quite common. They don't say 1/4.
yeah, they say 1/4.
They say 1/2, 1/3, 1/4.
There you go.
That's even worse. And then when they tried to introduce like the third pounder, whatever, because they had a quarter pounder and then they were like a third pounder, and people thought that meant it was less.
Oh, really?
They were like, we can't. I don't want. Why would I get less meat? Pause.
Yeah,
I want more.
I'd pay
meat.
more.
I want more meat.
Pause.
Pause.
That's jokes.
Resume. Yep.
That's jokes.
It's messed up though. Like
What is?
the education system.
But I think globally, by the way, I don't think that's like
But they're like,
reflective of just the US.
For sure.
Even here, especially now, I think I have a problem with just mainstream schooling in general. And if I had the opportunity, like if I do have kids in the future, and I had the opportunity to like homeschool them, I probably would.
but don't you think you really enjoyed your time at school?
Yeah, the
Don't you
social
think
the social element.
But don't you think that like made you who you are? Like, if I didn't go to Tiffin, I wouldn't feel like I would be the person I am now.
Yeah, of course.
I believe that I have become the person I needed to be, but way later, because there's so many things you need to unlearn from school and teachings and just general, like, your mindset of this is how it's like a psyop. It's like this is how they get you ready for the sort of the being okay with the slave world, basically, and put it like from early putting your hand up if you want to go to the toilet, or addressing everyone as sir or whatever. It ingrains in you this mindset of like you can't do stuff on your own. Yeah. You have to fit into this system. It's this black box thinking. And so yeah, school was great and I learned a lot, but equally I spent all of my 20s coming to this point where I am right now, like unlearning a lot of those things and recalibrating how I even look at the world.
The negatives of not going to school and being homeschooled, I think, are way more on the like socialization element of it rather than the
Misinformation.
like understanding the world. Like even if your goal was let's come out of school with like good GCSEs and A levels, I think that would have been easily achieved like 5 years ahead of time. If that was your pure goal, it's like cool. I'm gonna homeschool. We were homeschooled. Yeah. We would have done that years in advance.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
so much of it is just like dead time and like poorly taught and things like that. But it's the socialization thing, which is why a lot of people who are homeschooled who just spend time with like their parents and their siblings don't really know how to be in the world. But if we had like a little village community with a few,
but I think
a bunch of kids, like 20, 30 kids all hang around.
I think it becomes the same thing though. The main issue with regular education is, I guess, the topics that are being taught.
Yes, the syllabus.
Like the syllabus that's you're learning, which a lot of it is like, especially things like history. I'm like, I don't give a shit about.
Also, it's all bullshit.
And
it's like
teaching
all
you
the fucking the wrong shit anyway.
It's like only one side of the story, and like stuff that I don't care about that I forgot immediately, like the Tudors. I don't really care. I don't know what I want with the Tudors.
Tudubem,
exactly. But then it's also you're catering to the like slowest person in your class, the person who's going to pick it up way later than everybody else. So then the bigger the classroom gets, obviously you start breaking up into sets and stuff, but to your point, if you've got 30 people in a classroom, they're not going to be able to give you that. That defeats the purpose of homeschooling, because you can get like exactly tailored to what you need and work at your pace and move as fast as you want or as slow as you want. So I think,
it's more about the content of what's being taught. For me, I think it's the syllabus. It's like you're being taught someone's version of what they think you should know about the world.
Yeah.
Why aren't we taught anything about tax or about like basic world things?
Yeah.
Why don't we know any of those things? But we get taught random stuff which we're never ever going to use. Like that's not a coincidence.
I guess the argument could be that a lot of the stuff, even though there isn't like direct real world application of the knowledge, you're building up this like corpus. Does that make sense? Is that a good use of that word?
perhaps.
Like you're building up this rounded knowledge base, which has maybe a lot of useless information, but you just do have latent knowledge of like some things in geography, some things in history, some things in chemistry, whatever. If you didn't have that, you'd just be very like pointed in your learning.
Yeah, but why are you saying that you would be pointed in your learning? Why wouldn't you be able to do all those things as well? I get what you're trying to say, but it doesn't mean that you have to go, right, we're just going to teach you maths. And I was going to say, to your point on the social aspect of things, and you saying that's probably something they lose, the like being able to socialize and finding their place in the world. I would argue that in this day and age with like phones and with technology, and if they're out of sight, you don't know what they're actually doing and how insular they actually are. I actually argue that you could make them be less dependent on a device, for example, and be more of a human. Teach them social skills. Bring them out to meet other families who are homeschooling their kids, or I don't know, bring them to a museum, meet loads of different people.
Yeah, or even just having them in like a sports team or something, where it's like, you're having to now connect with other people.
Sports team, that's perfect.
But I think there's the one thing that I don't think you can replicate is the idea of like going to this place every day and having this like consistent, prolonged exposure to the same group of people over 7 years or whatever. Like that is, I think, quite important. Although, as I'm saying out loud, I do know a few people who like moved schools like 3 or 4 times during their education. They
Also,
made like friends along the way, and they still are in touch. Like,
but
like
the people
Tyler,
I'm
for example,
closest
he
with-
left Tiffin in year 10, so that he still had like 4 years or 3 years, and then came back for sixth form. So he had like left and then came back, and
What did you do for that 1 year?
Why did he do that? I've never heard
no,
of him.
he maybe left in year 9. I can't remember. I know he went to another school for a few years, did GCSEs there, and then came back to Tiffin in sixth form, and like that was just like what he ended up doing. And the point I'm making is that you show up to the same place every day, 5 days a week for like 4 years. That's going to be very, very hard to replicate the depth of social interaction just on a, even 3 times a week going and playing football, even 5 times a week, but only going and spending like 2 hours.
I
at this
guess
place,
it's what
know
you
I'm saying?
value then. It's like, what is more important to you then?
Yeah.
For your kid, would you rather they go and... I think when it's your kid, you'll probably rather you have eyes on them and
Yeah,
be
it's true.
able to... Especially with the way the world is going.
Yeah. I think the other side of it is it's quite a big decision that goes against the norm of what your like child's upbringing would look like. Like, school is such a massive part of somebody's life from 3 to 18. They're in education. If they're not in that, and you've essentially forced them to do something else, they don't have a choice in whether or not they're actually in education in the normal sense or at homeschool. You've made such a massive change in their life, and if it has any negative impact, you're fully responsible for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but then my argument against would be, okay, would you rather be responsible for the positive and negative of your child, or would you rather leave that up to a system or somebody
Yeah,
else?
that's a fair point.
And it's like, cool, I'll take the L on maybe the bad consequences of it, but I'm fully responsible for all the good shit.
Yeah.
Versus like you give them to a school where it's like, I mean, you hear stories all the time about kids coming home and telling their parents that they've learned X, Y, and Z, or like, I don't know, weird maybe sex education stuff that was inappropriate at that time, or like they teach you something about history and you're like, that's not actually a true representation of what happened, and then you feel like you're almost powerless in shaping that person's future.
Yeah, you'll see those videos of like a guy in America who like brings his kid in wearing a dress, and he's like, who the hell put a dress on my kid? Like, you can't do this without my consent. That's and what all this stuff, that's the way we're going, I think.
Yeah, but there are it's like Montessori
for like forest schools and stuff.
Yeah, like I know a few people I met at uni that's where they went to school, and it looked pretty sick. Like when they were telling me about, they were like, we didn't have like traditional, like you sit down and do like maths and English or whatever. It's like your lessons are mainly outside. You're learning like real life skills. You obviously do have the written education as well, but there's much more of a focus on like the practical life.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
And you see these little, I've seen so much shit on Instagram where it's like this little kid and his mum is like telling him, maybe he's like 4 years old, and he's like, make pancakes and here's all the stuff you need. And she's like, okay, now do this. And he's doing it himself and like mixing it up and using the pan and like making it. And it's like, when I was 4, I could not do that.
Yeah.
Like, not even close. I can barely do it now. It's like that stuff I think is actually useful, because once you get out of education, you're in the real world. It's like the amount of people I met.
Welcome to the real world.
Makes
We
a
eat
pancake.
pancakes.
Yeah, but as in like when I met people at uni and they were like unable to use like a washing machine.
Yeah.
Or they didn't know
This
how.
is what I mean about the tax stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, why isn't basic stuff like that taught?
Yeah, I guess we did have like cooking class.
Well,
We
like
didn't.
food tech.
Yeah, we had.
I never
You didn't have that?
No,
It's peak. We had that. That was sick.
that's what I mean.
I remember one time in a cooking lesson. Was it called cooking? That doesn't seem right.
That probably wasn't called
It doesn't
cooking. I
cooking
thought it was
class.
called food technology. Was that not what it was?
I don't know if we called it that.
Food tech.
I can't remember what the specific name, but you'd get into pairs, you'd have like your ingredients and like make this thing, you've got the recipe. And one of the recipes was just like loads of cheese. It was like just some sort of cheese-based dish, and me and Cameron, when we were paired up, and we just ate
All the cheese.
so
Yeah.
much cheese in that class.
Yeah.
You'd just be grating it, and it's like, right, and that's my pile of cheese.
Yeah.
Here's your pile of cheese, and here's the pile of cheese for the dish. And
I
you just
can't
be
imagine a class like that. That would have been so fun.
It was lit. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then at the end of it, you've got this meal, and you're like eating it, and you're like, yeah, this is really good. Like, oh, we just fucked this up. Obviously, not enough cheese
no
because
cheese at
no
all.
cheese, and it's just like some pastry that we've made.
How does it work? Is it like MasterChef at that point? Does the teacher come around and taste it and go,
No.
"You got to be"?
No. They're just like, I think that I can't. Honestly, that whole class is just a blur. I don't think I really did much except like eat cheese and like mess about and like eat the raw ingredients, and then like at the end you haven't got enough to make the actual thing, so you've just got like a small amount of food that you've made.
Cake batter.
I mean, it bangs. It bangs. It does bang.
The the whole conversation we're having right now kind of boils down to like the two hemispheres of the brain, and it's like left brain and right brain, and I always get them confused, but I'm pretty sure right brain is the creative and left brain is the...
I thought it was the other way around, but I might be wrong.
In any case, you guys know what I'm trying to get at here.
Sides of the brain.
So a lot of school is very one-sided on that part of the
But
brain.
no, you're right.
Right brain is creative.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did have lessons like art and music and stuff, which obviously favor that more. But society at large is very much left brain coded, like left brain focused, where it's like, okay, you're going to go to work, you're going to work from these times of the day, you're going to do specific tasks, you're going to live a specific life. Like that's very regimented and very rational and logical. And there's not so much like right brain, random chaos, creativity, energy in society. And I watch a lot of lectures from that professor guy that I've been telling you guys about. And he was talking about like the Greek civilization and why back then we've got writers like Homer who wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey, and that's like 3,000 years old, and they're still some of the best books ever written. And modern literature is not really like comparative. It doesn't really tell the same stories. And he said it's because the culture at the time was like, okay, people would go into the forum and they just spend all day talking and debating with each other and like drinking wine, and it was like that was what a normal day was like, rather than going to work and doing these specific tasks. So it created a culture and a society where writing was at the forefront. Like everybody was talking and communicating, and they developed like language, and they made it to the level that it is now. We don't have that same thing now. We don't really prioritize those sort of things in like daily life. That's not like the done normal thing.
The system that we're in, and the matrix, quote unquote, that we've been put into means that they will always prioritize like safe bets, no wild cards, like people who are just going to clock in and become another number, essentially, like pay their mortgage, become part of the system. As soon as it's all these like fear-based what's the word, deterrence, I guess, of like you don't want to try it with your music, you don't want to do that because you won't be able to pay off your mortgage. It's about locking people into this perpetual loop, essentially, and that starts at school. Starts at school. This
it's a fair. I guess that maybe the way I look at it is I would really love to homeschool my kid and have like that control over like the information that they're getting, and have that like influence over their lives, because I don't want them to be like led astray or essentially be taught the wrong things, or be taught things that, like you said, you're gonna have to unlearn when you get into your 20s. But then the responsibility of that, and like I don't know enough about any single subject to actually feel like I could teach that to my kid.
Well, that's the beauty of it though, because then when you have to do the teaching, teaching is not just a one-way thing. It's teaching and learning at the same time.
Yeah, but like if I'm teaching my like 6-year-old like some sort of English grammar, I need to know that like inside and out. I can't be like, well, here's the rule. Is that the rule though?
Yeah, but you've got the information in front of you, and then you can just contextualize it and explain it in a way that he understands.
Yeah, I guess.
And we have unlimited access to knowledge now.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's kind of like, what do you choose? What knowledge do you choose?
I guess
to
maybe
give
I
this
feel
person?
like it's doing a disservice to teachers or like people who've spent their life training to be an educator, and then now I'm coming in and being like, well, you've dedicated however many years to be in this position to teach, and then now I'm just gonna be like, I could do that with no thing. Just be like, I've got the internet and I could do it.
Everybody becomes a parent and they've not got a qualification for that. Like, we're talking about parenting here. We're not really talking about teaching. It's
I think we are talking about specifically about like teaching, because I could see the argument if you're like, I want to homeschool my kid, but I'm going to bring in like somebody who's an expert in like maths, and they're going to just sit down for their maths lesson, and they're going to be like essentially having a series of tutors that you act as the conduit between. But then it's like, at that point, just go to school.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you have control over who is coming in and what they are teaching. Okay, so yeah, come in and teach maths, but don't teach me like trigonometry.
Yeah, fuck all that Pythagoras theorem. And to be fair, even now, unless you like conceptual deep maths, because I don't even know what any of that shit is, but I know like Vixen, Ibby and these man studied it at uni, and it's just like a different ball game. You actually don't really need to know anything now. And obviously that's kind of sad to admit, but bro, we have calculators, everything's added up for us. What do you actually, on a daily basis, do you need maths?
But it's
the crux of the universe,
but
but it's like, for me as a human, it's totally useless now.
But unless you're going to literally become like a physicist or something.
Yeah, or it's just, because I think, again, when we're talking about teaching and we're talking about, okay, what's the point of going to school? It's very much like I'm studying this subject because I want to then take these A-levels and I want to do this degree at university to get this job. Mm-hmm. That's like the pathway. Whereas teaching and learning should be, this is what's interesting to me and I want to know it just because. Yeah. Like, not for any actual reason, I just like it. If we lived in this free society where we didn't necessarily have the constraints of the matrix and jobs and mortgages and whatever, and it was much more like, cool, I do this shit because it's fun, then yeah, you might want to get deep into maths and irrational and rational numbers and all of this shit and like infinity and whatever, just because it tickles that part of your brain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I get to take, you said something there which is like, oh, we don't actually need to know it because you've got like, actually you've got calculators, everything's added up, like what's the actual point of learning it? If you take that to its like logical extreme, what's the point of learning anything? Like, you can just chat GPT. You don't need to know any information. You don't actually have to like learn anything, because anytime you're confronted with a question or something you don't know, you can be like, 1 second, use this. And doesn't that kind of go against what you would want for your kid or want for yourself even? Like,
if the world has changed though.
The information, for me, that argument is like, the information's there if you need it, mm-hmm. but you being shaped as a person isn't being shaped by this information. It's more like, let's just round you as a person. Yeah. Let's teach you the life skills you need. Why are we even gonna, you just said about history, let's just not teach them history. Why does history stop at year 9 for some people?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know what I mean?
So you have to get these qualifications, so you need to pick how you're going to spend your time in class.
So you can pick and choose. It can be like beneficial to that person. If you, I don't know. Yeah, you can shape them. You can help shape them, you know?
And with the way that the world is set up now, with unlimited information there for you, maybe the priority should be more to do with stuff like metacognition, how you think, learning how to learning about, you know, social interaction, learning about those things, because the left brain stuff is done now. Like, we don't need it as much. What we're lacking in modern society is the right brain stuff. It's like the creative and the human connection. And then just to come back to what I was talking about with like the Odyssey and the Iliad, the guy who was teaching, he said these stories are truthful, but they're not factual. So it's like there's lots of truth to what's being said, because it's like concepts that make sense, and it's talking about the hero's story and, you know, love and the sea and all of these things. So there's a lot of truth to them, but it's not facts. It's just, you know, it's myth and legend. Yeah. But now a lot of stories are written from like the factual element, where it's like, okay, well, this is what happened during the day. I'm telling you the facts of the events that happened, but it lacks truth. It lacks like that deeper kind of impact.
So true.
Which is why, again, those books stood the test of time.
Isn't it?
For sure. And like, yeah, cool, we can talk about like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky and pull out these like great novels, but still the most popular books, or like the greatest books, were written.
Shakespeare's a great example.
Thousands of years ago.
Well.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree.
Yeah, but nah.
No, I agree. I'm mainly trying to play devil's advocate, but
Yeah, it's
also
a good,
like,
it makes for a good conversation.
Send your little eighth junior to Tiffin.
but don't you think that would be sick?
Wow.
Like if you would go to Tiffin as well, because I had such a good time at
No,
Tiffin.
I don't disagree.
Like
I had a
that's
great
my point.
experience.
Like, I think I turned out all right. I think I turned out okay, and I went to school. I did like a regular education. I went to uni. Like
I think
I don't wanna
we're
deprive-
I think we're the last cut-off of people who are going to be normal based off their childhood. I know that sounds like a mad statement, but genuinely, we're the last. You are the last cut-off to not be one of the iPad babies, to not be born with the internet.
yeah.
What, the Gen Alpha and beyond cooked?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why we're talking practically about like in a situation where it's going to be our children potentially. I'm not talking about my experience or your experience, how good it was. I'm being realistic about what the state of the world is now. Do you know what I mean?
But how can we fix that? Or like, what would be the fix?
Homeschool. The only way is to not accept this.
The status quo,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, it's essentially, and we've spoken about this
It's
before.
status
but
American.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
it's the way that the system has set up with stuff like big cities and globalization,
Yeah.
which is essentially the problem. And without going like full send tinfoil hat, let's just say the more global it becomes, the easier it is for people to make money and to have power because you're centralizing everything. So if we actually want to change that, it has to be a decentralization of power structures. It needs
Bitcoin.
to be, exactly. Fuck that. It needs to be
Why
like
though?
smaller
That's
communities.
decentralized. Crypto is decentralized.
Yeah, but I just think crypto is potentially like,
Nefarious.
I think it's like possibly just another tool. Like if it was, I don't know, CIA or US government or something, there's some sort of shadow people that constructed it. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the Federal Reserve getting out of the debt mess. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Epstein was into crypto in like 2008, and he was talking about like Bitcoin, and it's known, and he was trying to push that.
A lot of people think it was him who is
He's Satoshi, innit?
Satoshi. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, again, we might be straying slightly from the conversation, but I just think that individual was just, he's almost like a puppet or like a puzzle piece or like the main character in this show, this part of this show, but it's not like who directed it, who's the, do you know what I mean? Who wrote it? I don't think it's that person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
One thing that you mentioned before, which I found quite interesting, was, and it's my experience as well, is that at school we would learn things like music and art, and we'd have like lessons, but then there was so much of it which was actually like theory. Like we're learning music theory, and it's like, cool, that's useful for the music exam. Like when we take our GCSE, and if you want to do music, you're gonna need to like know a crotchet and like whatever a quaver and all of these stuff. But I don't, as somebody who wasn't very creative, that just made it even more difficult to like break into the creatives, like the creative spaces. Like, why do I need to know all of this theory and like art history about this style of art? Why can't we just have this as like a 2-hour thing where
Well, there you go. But
I want to just paint. I want to paint for 2 hours. I'm shit at painting. Let me try.
That talks to like a disconnect within arts themselves. Where, like, I always say this about classical musicians. It's so funny because you think it's the most creative job in the world, but what they're actually doing all day is just painting by numbers.
Yeah.
Because they've just got someone else's thing. And I went to this Hans Zimmer by Candlelight thing, right? And we were saying about we were saying, wow, what an amazing violinist. And then she did the Lion King as well, and then she did this, but she's never actually being creative at all. She's just playing. She's just looking at what someone's written and following instructions. And this is where I find that there's a bit of a disconnect between like actual creativity and expressionism and just analyzation of that. You know what I mean? It's almost like the music came first or the art came first. And now people have analysed it to work out the art history behind it. Oh, this has this themes because of this. But
And then we can like replicate that basically.
yeah, whereas I feel like the best art isn't like painting by numbers or following structures. It's doing stuff which hasn't been done before. And that doesn't mean it's not good to know. I wish I knew more about the theory and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't, because it means that I create random stuff
You'll
which
be
hasn't been heard before.
constrained by the theory.
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
by
exactly.
the I need to
Feel
follow.
like I need to follow the rules of something.
Yeah.
Or,
The reason why I think that stuff like music theory and art theory is still important is because, and I guess this would be the argument across the board for like learning about everything, is because it's the balance between the left and right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the creative element, but this is the rational, logical kind of side to it as well. And I just think that writ large, there's an imbalance. It's like way too, just society now is just way too like left brain focused, and we need to bring back a little bit of that, which is why, by the way, I value the way we've set up our thing so much, because a lot of days we're not doing work. You know, we're like playing sport, we're going on long walks, we're like talking big concepts, we're kind of bringing elements of these older civilizations and like trying to live a little bit more naturally, quote unquote, in terms of how we're doing things, and it's making me so much happier.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
This is what humans are supposed to do. We're not supposed to fit into someone else's like regimented schedule.
Yeah.
But I think it's still important that we have, like, I like the idea of spending my life just like enjoying it and having fun and doing it, but I don't know if I could do that the whole time. Like if it was just total freedom, no rules, no structure, no job, no focus, no anything, I don't know if that would serve me either. It's like you can't. I think it just comes down to.
I think it would fucking serve me.
I would love that.
I think it would just come down to balance. Like you need a little bit of something that's still gonna be like a driving force. You need like a North Star. You know, you need like purpose and principle, not just chaos.
Does
it's
that
all about
purpose-
order and chaos.
But does that
Everything
purpose-
is duality.
That purpose in our world now is more often than not something external to you. Like my purpose is I want to go make money and focus on, you know, I need to make money and then move up the ladder of my job and, you know, do this, do that. Don't you think that if from when you were 18 or from when you were like, oh, I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do, quote unquote, with my life, it's like spend a lot of time meditating, spend a lot of time being introspective. What gives you drive? What motivates you? And finding that North Star within. And then it doesn't matter what's happening in the world around you. You're still like, focus on a mission. I want to express myself in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like, if you didn't have a job, you'd be like, oh, well, I'm aimless. Well, isn't that more of a reflection on you as a person rather than the society that we're in? Well, I don't mean to call you out, like specifically, but like
I agree.
Like it should be that you have a purpose beyond the purpose that's given to you by society, or like your purpose in your profession.
And it would be like music or whatever.
Or maybe it is what you're currently doing, and like this actually does give me purpose. I love the outcome of what I'm doing, but then it's not tied to like the work. It's tied to the outcomes that you see with the people that you're working with.
Yeah, but my point on what I said about like being totally free of everything, it's you shifted too far into chaos. Like if you shift too far into chaos, I think that's when, you know, maybe you start not looking after yourself as much, and you maybe go a little bit too hedonistic with the way you're living, and you're like, you know what, nothing really matters, and you fall into things like nihilism and whatever. Like, what's the point? I can do whatever I want. I have no real. So too much chaos is bad. Too much order is bad. Yin yang, bruv. And again, yin yang. We're talking about a fucking ancient concept here. We're not talking about something that was cooked up in the last 60, 100 years. Yeah. And why did they know about that? Because they allowed both sides of humanity to flourish. It's the left and the right. It's the dark and the light. We talk about this all the time. It's that duality. And I think the whole point of what I was saying earlier is we've just gone a bit too far towards order, society-wise. We're a bit too left-brained. So we just need to just a little bit this way.
Right brain.
Just a little bit this way.
Just a smidge.
A little bit less haram ball. Like, let's go actually try and score some goals. Let's not be too defensive. Do you know what I mean? Like, just please, bruv. Let's get it over the line.